What isn't socially acceptable, but it should be. In America, being allowed to sit while working at a job that doesn't require a computer. Cashiers in America are expected to stand. Why? You know, I hadn't really thought about how simple it would be to place a stool next the register where they could sit, but still easily ring up items. A person could alternate between sitting and standing pretty easily. Exactly. It's something I didn't think about either until I saw it in European countries. Since then, it has always annoyed me that we don't allow people to sit while doing certain jobs. One place I worked at wouldn't allow a pregnant cashier a chair to sit in while working. Doing stuff on your own. After I saw something on Reddit, I tried going for lunch on my own, and now one of my treats is to go to a restaurant by myself. I sit there with my headphones on, chilling out and enjoying myself. Everyone should give it a go once. Treat yourselves. I travel for work 90% of the year, so I've gotten accustomed to going out on my own, and man, some of the best conversations I've ever had were alone at a bar with a bartender. I almost feel sorry for people who can't enjoy going to a bar alone. I move every few years and it's become a habit to explore each new city by just walking into bars, getting a drink, and either enjoying my own company or starting up a conversation with someone else. Edit. My last chance before the pandemic was chatting with a guy in Boston who'd driven his family up to see a concert. There were 3 people and only 2 tickets left, so he'd given up his ticket so that his wife and kid could go. Really great guy. He thought his pint glass was cool and asked the bartender if he could take it with him. The bartender said no, but he could give us each a promotional pint glass from the same brewery that they couldn't use anymore because the promotion ended. I walked out with a great conversation and a gorgeous pint glass from one of my favorite breweries. He'd given up his ticket so that his wife and kid could go. He was just looking for an excuse to skip the Symphony W/wife and kid and hit some local bars. Symphony, more likely it was some Justin Bieber type deal the kid wanted to go to, and mom drew the short straw. Asking someone to be your friend as an adult. I remember telling my mom when I was younger, just ask them to play with you. I understand now how hard making friends when you're older is. I used to make friends with someone at the playground without even knowing their name. Once as a kid, I ran up to my friend on the playground, grabbed her by the shoulder, and spun her around. It wasn't her. It was some random other kid who normally didn't have recess at that time. I was mortified, but I played it off and made a friend just because I called her by the wrong name. Not getting someone a gift when they say that they don't want anything. Honestly, I'd be happy with this. I don't need gifts. Ironic. When asked, why not? Answering because I don't want to. People would almost always rather you lie to them by making up excuses why they don't want to do a thing. Similar vein, if I make plans with someone and they need to bail, just tell me you can't make it. I literally do not care what the reason is. Actually, don't even give me a reason. Just don't waste my time by not showing up and not letting me know. It's so sad that we are now at the point where we are like, look, you don't even have to explain flaking on plans. Just let me not wait around at the theater. Salary discussions. It's weird even between friends. And it's exactly how the industry set it out to be. Yup. And it only benefits employers. Whereas being open about it benefits employees. Particularly ones being paid less than they're worth. People shouldn't have to explain why they don't drink. Just because a woman doesn't drink doesn't mean she's pregnant. Try being a man who doesn't drink in a country where drinking is ingrained in the culture. I can't even pretend to be pregnant. I feel like saying I can't. I'm pregnant should get the point across. But then I know how pushy people can be. Skipping. It's fast. It's efficient, I think anyways. And damn it, it's fun. I cannot tell you how many times I've raced across a college campus wishing I could skip. Can confirm. Used to live in the hoods of Philly growing up. As a teenager, I would hang out at my friend's about 7 blocks away. Skipping home at night meant I could consistently move and maintain energy to get home without stopping. Never got jumped skipping home. We used to skip as part of our warm-up in martial arts class. Occasionally I'd yell out, "Oh Francis." Way too many of the kids got that. Saying no and giving no explanation other than just saying no. This right here. The psychological cost of never saying no, or not saying it enough, is immense. At least for me. For most people, I believe it is directly linked to the need to seek approval from others. My aunt is raising my cousins with a different method. She cannot tell them no, and asks us not to when they come over, either. Instead, we are supposed to offer them something else. So if they want something of mine, or want to do something they can't, I'm not allowed to tell them no. I have to say why don't we do X instead, y'all. These children are the most wild, off the chain children I have ever met. Please, dear God, normalize no. Your wife aunt sounds like a sales manager. The answer is never no when the customer asks for X. The answer is always about how great Y and Z are. Being a guy and able to talk to children without looking weird. I got called gay the other day for changing my daughter's diaper. So you know normalizing men taking care of their children would be cool. Fellas, is it gay to be a good father? You know how I know you're gay. How? You're a loving and caring father. You know how I know you're gay? How? You had sex with a woman. Kids don't appear out of the ether. Except adopted kids. Who knows where those come from? Running somewhere to save time. Sometimes I just want to get somewhere faster and it's not because there's some sort of emergency or whatnot. Yet used to run everywhere. It's not always about time. I just like running and fast. When I grew up there was this kid that ran everywhere. In high school, college, and probably beyond. We weren't really friends, but I always called him the protagonist. Because heroes run everywhere. Men sharing and expressing feelings. For goodness sake, most of them don't even know what they are feeling because society says they aren't supposed to feel. I definitely relate to this one. Half the time I don't even realize my stress or anxiety until it's affecting other areas of my life. I feel like I barely know how to recognize what I feel. Taking out sanitary towels/tampons out of your bag in public with no attempt to hide them. I feel ridiculous trying to grab a tampon out of my desk and shove it in my pocket before any of my coworkers notice. Open floor plan office. No walls/cubicles. Like, I should not be ashamed or embarrassed about this. And I sure as hell am not taking my entire bag to the bathroom like some of my coworkers do. It is noisy, too. People assume it's candy wrapper noises. Mayo, when my brother was really young, like 4 or something, I had a compact tampon that I was bringing to the bathroom. And he started throwing a tantrum because I had candy and he didn't. My mom and I tried explaining it wasn't candy, but he wasn't having any of it. Men being recognized as victims of domestic abuse. Throughout Asia, public displays of affection are often looked down upon. Holding hands, small kisses, and even having your arm around someone are a few examples. What part of Asia? In the Philippines it was very common to hug, hand over each other's shoulders. Even straight guy friends walk around holding hands. Mainly China, Japan and Korea, the places I've been. I've spent a lot of time in the Philippines and I see what you mean. Besos are common there too, which stem from Spanish traditions. Middle East too. Taking a couple of short naps at work. I'm not getting any extra work done if I'm trying to just keep my eyes open for a couple of hours. I see no problems with this if you get your work done. However, if you're constantly this tired at work, then it might be a personal issue. Oh, I get that. But my work involves sitting in front of a screen, proofreading scientific articles for 9 hours. Oh yeah, I understand. I nearly fell asleep while reading that. Having acne. Most acne is not due to bad self-care. It's due to hormones, and it's a nightmare to have to manage. When I'm breaking out bad, I stay in the house for days. Turning down hugs/affection. Even if those hugs are from family. My daughter wasn't a hugger when she was younger. Her dad's family is very much into hugging and affection. It was a battle for a bit with them wanting hugs and her saying no. Me saying she said no. And then getting her dad to understand that she has the right to say no to something as simple as a hug. To him, it was just a hug. And he grew up giving hugs, so no big deal. To me, It's about letting my daughter know she doesn't have to make herself uncomfortable for someone else's happiness. Even for a hug. Good for you. Kids need to know they can set the boundaries for who touches their bodies. Thank you. I agree, and I wish more people understood that concept. Kids shouldn't be forced into affection, no matter how innocent. I don't understand how an adult would care more about a hug than the fact they are making a child visibly uncomfortable. If you care about a child, care about their boundaries and personal space. You're so right. It is about their personal boundaries. I've always been all about that, too. It's gone well for me. One of my great nieces was super shy, and I didn't see her that often. She didn't want hugs. I didn't force them. We are good friends now. She's an adult. My own son didn't always want to hug people. And why should he have to? I would stand up for him. He's still a cuddle monster and he's nearly 30. Taking a day off for mental health. Expecting to be paid a livable wage. Glad I work for a company that gives you your PTO at the start of the year and lets you use it as you see fit. As long as there aren't 4 other people in my department off, I can take any day I want off with no questions asked. Anything associated with laziness, video games, TV, weed, anything. Just because an activity is lazy doesn't mean that's all that person does. It's just how they relax. Having a criminal conviction, especially non-violent. But no matter what happened, even if it was years ago, people immediately cast you away once you check that box. I worked somewhere, and the manager was going through applications, and on one of them the person had admitted to being convicted of a felony. The manager turned to me and said something about them being a felon, and he threw it in the trash. I spoke up and said that he shouldn't automatically do that. I said he should look at what the crime was and when it happened. Sure, maybe you don't want to hire someone fresh out of prison who had been convicted of embezzlement from their previous employer. But if someone had one felony drunk driving 30 years ago, when they were 21, they could easily still be a great employee. Also, they were upfront and honest about it. That says a lot.